our bodies made in the gym or in the kitchen? Is the HIV vaccine something you should get? Why do Kenyans default on loan payments? Voting should not divide us as Kenyans. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Kenya and around the world. I'll be with you for the next 25 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Daily Show. You can join in on the conversation on our social media handles, on Facebook at The Daily Show, Twitter at The Daily Show KE, and use the hashtag #TheDailyNow. There's a constant debacle online on whether our bodies are made in the gym or in the kitchen. Let's dive into this conversation.
I think it's a mixture of the two. Mainly, people say a lot in the gym, and others say a lot in the food. I think you have to. It's more of the gym than food, because you can eat healthy forever and you'll never get a big body. At the same time, you can always eat a lot, and some people eat a lot and or work out a lot and they still don't grow. So I think it's more in the gym, lift a lot, do a lot of exercises, then control your diet. Yeah.
Joining us live is a doctor from Radiant Hospital. Thank you so much for being with us. In your opinion, are bodies made in the gym or in the kitchen?
Food matters a lot, or maybe it has a big percentage of effect. If you don't control your diet, you'll be doing nothing, or going 2 steps forward, 4 steps backwards. You need a balanced diet. You need a meal plan, and especially sugars. You need to reduce sugars, largely you need to reduce sugars.
What advice would you give to those who are struggling to lose weight?
Like I was saying, food, yes. It's not an easy journey, because when you're used to a certain habits, so hard to come out of. The same way you talk of addiction in drugs, the same way you can addicted, not really addiction, but when you have that feeling of wanting to take sugar, not going deep into the science behind it, but it's a type of addiction. Yes, we can say it like that. So you really need to check on your diet first. It should be a balanced diet, and also at the end of it all, you need exercise, not only gym, because not everyone can do gym. A 70 or 60-year-old person, you don't expect them to go to lift weights. Yeah, there is running or brisk walking. Not just walking, brisk walking. Yes. You see that will prevent a lot of things. Yes. It helps you keep fit, and also prevents a lot of diseases like hypertension and diabetes. You see those lifestyle diseases that can be prevented by maybe proper dieting and good exercises. They're killing more people than anything else, probably, especially the diabetes and hypertension. Yes. Yeah. So it's diet and exercises and gym if you can.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Doctor. A few months ago, Moderna vaccinated the first patients in a clinical trial of the experimental HIV vaccine. Tonight, let's dive into this conversation and make sure you join us on our social media platforms.
Siwezi ambia mtu apate ama asipate, mwenyewe ajiamulie. Sababu kuna wenye unasikia mtu alipata akapata matatizo, kuna ule amepata hana matatizo. So siwezi force sema lazima mtu aende ujue atakienda atapata nini.
Tonight we have a very educated guest who will speak to us on issues regarding vaccines. Welcome to the show, Mary. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Dr. Mary Kiautino, and I'm a general practitioner working in Nairobi South Hospital.
In your opinion, what are the key benefits of vaccines?
Well, vaccination, which encompasses vaccines as one, is important because the people who get vaccinated, they protect the people who are around them and those who are vulnerable to disease, including family, friends, and the community around them. Once they do get vaccinated, then they are protected. They cannot get that infection.
How long after a vaccine is released should people go and get them?
Well, vaccines, for vaccines to be allowed to be able to infer immunity, they have to be passed through various boards, including the most common, FDA. And when a vaccine is passed through that, it means it's good for people and it can give that immunity.
Personally, would you get the HIV vaccine?
I think I would, because there are so many different ways you can contract HIV. And for us in the healthcare world, injections, needle pricks can also expose you to HIV. So yes, I would definitely get that.
What advice would you give to those who still refuse to get the COVID-19 vaccine to date?
Well, the COVID vaccine came at a time when there was so much information around it. And I would want to tell people that by the time the vaccine was released, it was able to show that it could reduce the infection. And also, it has been known to be safe and effective because people have taken it now and there's no issue that has come about. And lastly, when you do get the vaccine, like I mentioned before, it reduces the risk for you to get serious illness.
What are the benefits of getting COVID-19 vaccine boosters?
Now, a booster is a form of the original vaccine, only that once you get it now as a booster, it offers you more protection and hence less effects of the illness that would cause you harm.
Thank you so much for your time, Mary. We're going on a short break, but stay tuned as we have a lot more in store for you. Welcome to the show, Trufena. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Trufena. I'm the CEO of Rates Capital, which is a company that has real estate and financial institutions. Yes.
Personally, would you start a loan business?
Yes, with a lot of research, I would.
What measures would you put in place to ensure that your loans are paid timely?
Payment of loans is not an easy task. So I would put a number of measures in place. First, before I give loans, I would look at the members I'm giving. There is one thing to save and there is one thing to be credit worth. So I would first look at that member and see if they're credit worth. So if they are, then I would give them a loan befitting their worth. And that way, I'll be able to know these members are able, or this particular member is able to pay this kind of money they have borrowed. That's the first thing I would look at. I would also be able to avail different measures or different strategies that are comfortable and achievable in terms of payment. So I would put in place payment modes that my clients or my borrowers are comfortable and are able to achieve. That is what I would look at. Maybe the third and very important measure I would put in place is, the auto debit situation. I would look at if most of my borrowers have that situation of auto debiting their money, then I would go for that. I would look at maybe people who are employed and would work towards maybe some check-off system. I would think about standing orders. That is very important because that way I know it is assured up to some point. Other than, putting the hope of, I know you will pay. But if I got that auto debit direction, then I would take that. Another measure I think is very important is for me to be able to pick quickly signs of default. Because what happens is when you have members who are showing signs of default and you keep quiet, then it becomes worse. But immediately you notice there is this situation, then there is a process you need to follow. Like in my situation, if I was a money lender, I would look at the rules and laws that I have in place. I would possibly look for them and tell them your loan is in default. If that is not honored, I would look for maybe a guarantor. I would tell them that this is the case. But if it gets to worse, if worse gets to us, then I would let them know that I'm using your savings to balance off your loan so that the loan doesn't continue getting defaulted. So that is what I would possibly look at. I would also ensure that I have very strong systems that maybe people working for me or people working in the system are able to give very updated information to members, and they are able to give prompt reminders. Like if your loan is supposed to be paid on the 15th, the people who are working under my system are able to give you prompt reminder, it is tomorrow, please pay your loan. That way I think I would achieve.
In your opinion, what are some of the factors that affect people that causes them to default on paying loans?
The one and very main factor that would cause loans being defaulted is lack of money. Someone will borrow some money and at the time of payment they do not have money, so that is one of the reasons. The other reason is unwillingness to pay. There are people who will borrow money and they will not pay, not because they do not have money, but because they possibly do not prioritize that the loan you gave them was important to be paid at that time. So that is another reason. Maybe another reason that people default on loans is when they realize your interest rates are very high. So they would feel like they are being, they would feel like this is not really what I asked for, and that way they would feel like I don't think I want to pay this loan. Another problem or another reason that would make people default is when you did not appraise the loan the right way. By appraising, I mean you did not work towards knowing, is this member creditworthy? Is this member able to pay this kind of money that we are giving them? Is this member qualified in this instance? And at that, you have not appraised that loan the right way. So that would cause, actually, I think that is one of the biggest and the major reasons why people default. Because a case in point, you give some 1 million shillings to a member who has saved 200,000 shillings, and possibly they earn 20,000 shillings as salary. how do you expect that person to pay that loan? You know. So even if you decide to just take all their salary, they still would not manage to pay that loan. Even if you decide to balance off their savings with their loan, it is only 200,000. So you didn't appraise that loan the right way, and that way, that is the main reason for defaults. And last but not least, in my view, is lack of monitoring. Because if you have given a loan and the people working under your system do not kind of monitor that loan, like this month, has it been paid? Has it been paid in the right installment? Have we given a reminder? Do we have the updated report for this member, so that if a member asks that question, you're giving them immediate and updated report? If that monitoring is not there, loans will have defaults.
How would you explain in simple terms what a SACCO is?
In very simple terms, a SACCO is actually, those are initials for savings, credit, and cooperative, you know. It is basically where you put in your money so that you can borrow, possibly because they'll give you 3 times tire, like 4 times, depending on different rules and regulations of different SACCOs. So basically, it is where you will save money so that you can get the benefit of borrowing. Yes.
In your experience working in the SACCO world, what are some of the biggest challenges?
Biggest challenge for me in working with SACCOs is loan default. Members who borrow loans default so much, and there are some regulations that kind of hold SACCOs not to be very strict with their borrowers. You know, it's not like the banks, because the banks have rules of, we can come and auction you, for SACCOs it's different. You have to follow a very lengthy process for you to be able to recover even a small loan. You cannot go and pick maybe a pen and use it to recover your loan if the loan was borrowed through a SACCO. There is a whole process of going through the law, and then you can contract maybe a legal auctioneer, and that way you can now start following legally in that line. So that for me is actually the main challenge.
What are the benefits of being in a SACCO?
Definitely the fact that you have money that you are able to put in a SACCO, and the SACCO helps you to save that money. That is the first benefit. Because there's some people will have money, they will not use it to do anything, and unless they save it, they will use it the wrong way. So that is the first benefit, that your money is safe in a SACCO. The second benefit is most of the SACCOs have way lower interest rates compared to, let me not say specifically banks, but to other financial institutions. So SACCOs are a bit flexible, and there are some SACCOs, and especially where I work, we are able to kind of negotiate with a client or with a borrower or with a member of our SACCO that we can replan or reschedule their payment plan, and that way it becomes a bit easy for them. So you will find it very beneficial for a member to want to go the SACCO way than these other ways. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, Trifena. Elections are just around the corner. We hope and continue to urge all Kenyans to go out and vote, keep calm, and maintain peaceful elections. How do you think these elections will go? Make sure you join in on the conversations on our social media platforms. With us today is Alois Lavan Otieno.
My name is Alois Lavan Otieno, CEO of Vijana Mkeni Youth Organization. Vijana Mkeni is an NGO that focuses on civic education, environmental conservation, and basically youth empowerment in general. Yeah.
Alois, thank you for joining us yet again. What message would you like to pass across to young Kenyans as they go to the ballot box this year?
One thing is, as young people, we must not allow ourselves to be used as weapons of violence. We must look at ourselves as the majority, and therefore we really need to choose wisely as young people, because the decisions that we make today are really going to affect our lives For a long time, we used to be told they'll affect our lives tomorrow, but it's actually today.
What message would you like young people to remember about electing our future leaders?
Be peaceful and vote for the leader that you actually believe in.
Thank you so much for being with us again today, Alois. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, comes to the end of our show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you soon.